philosophy, I'm saying, is about kinds of concepts. So, for example, there's a philosophy that you all know because we have to live in it, which says that everything is made out of little parts. Everything is made out of little parts, and to understand anything, you divide it into these little parts, and then you put the parts together, and when you combine the parts right so that the thing is back working, then you've understood it. So everything is a machine. Then there is a different, that's the dominant philosophy in this culture for the last 300 years. But there is always another philosophy which says, no, 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 everything is one big whole, and anything, any way we divide it, we could divide it some other way, and so you always have to appeal to the whole. That's like ecology and holistic medicine, and a lot of you would belong to that probably. Then there is this, and that says anything we study has to be studied by bringing it to the whole. So don't go and just study people by themselves. They're part of this big system. Don't study the fish because the fish are part of what they eat, which is part of this, which is part of that. Anything you want to understand is a whole. And it always, philosophy is about anything we study, anything you want to understand, anything. So there's another philosophy which says, no, there are all these little holes. Every existing thing is a whole, and it makes its own whole. And so whatever you study, you have to limit it to itself somehow. And that's a very different approach, which is not very familiar. And then there's still another philosophy, and these are just examples. There's still another philosophy which says, no, 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 there's nothing. We make it up. And that one you're also familiar with. The current version of that one is called postmodernism, and it says there's nothing underneath. Everything is just made up. You can pretty much make it up any way you want. Reconstruct it all. And the universe, or the environment, or the world, or nature, or any word you would have for whatever really exists, is out there, and we don't know anything about it. And you look at the other philosophies, and in a certain sense, they all have this notion that reality is out there, and we're here. Where we are today is very much between the two philosophies that I just lampooned, or simplified, or burlesqued, or pictured. The kind that says everything is made of little parts, and we know a whole lot about little parts. And the philosophy that says, no, 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 we made it up. And this is called the culture wars of the current time, between the constructivists who say we make it up and the objectivists which say, no, it really is this way. We tested it and it works. Look, we're making all this technology. There's no question that we want the technology. There's been a lot of critique of this kind of philosophy that we mostly have. Critique is pretty easy. What we need, and what I hope I'm presenting, is an alternative, a different way of making concepts. Critique is pretty easy, but critique doesn't take into account that we need the technology. See, I mean, we wouldn't be here this morning without all the transportation and all the electricity and all that technology. So I'm always making fun of my colleagues who write critiques of science. They write it on their computer and they send it off by email, and they go to conferences on the aeroplanes, and then they say science is just any old thing, we make it up. That's obviously not true. There's a lot involved in testing something. They wouldn't want to get on an untested airplane, even though they say, well, I won't get into that, but I could, if you want to know, I can tell you a very good argument they have why the testing doesn't actually prove anything. But I'm going on to say what the alternative is, the alternative model is that we're proposing is a model which includes the conceptual, includes the sharp definitions, includes the concepts as we're used to these concepts. But it also includes what Lynn introduced as the implicit. So what's the implicit? That's what I want to talk about. It includes the implicit in such a way that anything formulated anything sharp and clear is a product from the implicit and brings with it an implying of more, an implying of further steps, an implying of more than what is sharply conceptualized.